Once upon a time, in a world where magic and mythical creatures roamed freely, there was a fearless protagonist. He possessed incredible power and skill, and he was known far and wide for his fierce determination. But on this particular day, he found himself in a foul mood, angered by a dragon soaring through the sky above him. His frustration boiled over as one of the dragons swooped down, launching a spell towards him. Undeterred, our MC named Lucifer smirked and declared it would be nothing more than a warm-up before he took on that wretched spawn of Satan. He leaped towards the attacking dragons as they descended upon him. To even the odds, Lucifer ascended higher into the sky, determined to reach the dragon he had his eyes on. The dragon opened its mouth, ready to unleash a devastating attack, but Lucifer merely smiled, skillfully dodging its onslaught. In a single swift strike, he decapitated the beast, sending its lifeless body crashing to the ground. With a hint of pride, Lucifer taunted the fallen dragon, proclaiming its defeat in a one-on-one battle. However, the battle was far from over. The remaining dragons, witnessing their companion's demise, bared their fangs and prepared to unleash their fury upon Lucifer. Realizing that their numbers were overwhelming, Lucifer boldly declared that he would give it his all, making their task easier. Summoning every ounce of his power, Lucifer channeled it into his hand, releasing a torrent of energy into the heavens. In a spectacular display, a colossal crystal sword materialized, pointing towards the monstrous dragons. With a single word, Apocalypse, Lucifer activated the sword, which swiftly and relentlessly struck down each and every dragon, reducing them to ash. As the dust settled, Lucifer descended to the ground, his eyes fixed on a massive door that had opened before him. From its depths emerged a figure, the one he had been waiting for, the infamous Satan himself. Lucifer wasted no time in demanding that Satan kneel before him. Flanked by his loyal comrades, fueled by his determination, he charged towards Satan, urging his comrades to follow him. Yet, to his shock and disbelief, Lucifer felt a searing pain in his back. He turned to see his comrade Michael, who wore a twisted smile and withdrew his sword. Paralyzed, Lucifer realized he could no longer move his body while Michael stood there, observing him. Questions raced through Lucifer's mind as he struggled to comprehend why Michael had betrayed him, stabbing him in the back. As Lucifer's consciousness faded, he reopened his eyes, only to find himself plummeting through unfamiliar surroundings. Confusion and pain washed over him as he shouted in dismay. Disoriented, he emerged from the bin, clutching his throbbing head, surveying his unfamiliar surroundings with uncertainty. Suddenly, he hears someone asking, "What are they doing?" making him confused. Then he heard footsteps running toward him. The girl looked back, realizing that the place she ran to was a dead end and can't run anymore. The small man laughed, asking her if she don't have nowhere to run, and the big man told her that it was not like they are going to hurt her. The girl asked them, "What are they saying, and if they aren't even human?" The two men look at each other confused but changed to their true identity. She was surprised to see it. Suddenly, someone told them to stop right there, making the two monsters surprised. He called the girl Negan and told her to leave it to him because defeating demons is his job, making her confused if his like an exhibitionist job. The old monsters asked him why the hell is he naked, and the big monster shyly told him to put some clothes on, but he just told them that they are blabbering as loud and he shouted that they should get ready. Then the three men fight, making a painful sound. Sadly, our protagonist ended up in the trash bin again in pain. He shyly looks at his shaking hand, wondering why he can't bring out his power. The two monsters laugh at him and told him that he all barked and had no bite. The big monster said that now he's been dealt with, and the old monsters asked the girls if they shall resume the game. But they ended up being attacked and swallowed whole by the two big snakes. The girls said they seem to have an eye for women, but they don't seem to have eyes for picking fights. Then she looks back, wondering what is with the guy who's currently passed out in the trash bin. He woke up surprised. He slowly sits up and looks around. Then saw the girl drinking at the counter. She noticed that he was awake and told him that he sleep like a baby, but he just asked where he is. She replied that he fought thugs, lost, and then went unconscious, and since he had tried protecting her, she have got no choice but to repay him. He said something smells fishy, and she replied it can't be helped, and told him that is heavier than he looked, and it was difficult to carry him. Then she throws some clothes on him. She walked close to him, then asked him what are he because he was definitely not human while he was putting on some clothes. She explained that he fell from that height and remained unscathed. He replied that he's one of the archangels of Amatsukami and his name is Lucifer. Then he explained to her what happened to him. She sighed and burst laughing. She told him there was no way he was Lucifer, and he told her that she was laughing too much. She laughingly explained that she mean his weak as hell, but he just smiled back and looked at her proudly. Suddenly she attacks him using her snake, making him angry, and he told her that she was a demon too, but she didn't smell like one. She replied, of course, and introduced herself as Lilith, Satan's right arm. She explained that Satan is currently missing, and she came there to find him, and just before he disappeared, she heard that Satan was fighting someone. He replied that it was him, but she didn't believe him and swung him up and down. She told him that it's been months since Satan went missing and asked him if he was falling at that time. She grabs his face, making him surprised, and told him that it seems like he was telling the truth about him being an angel. The snake grabs him in the head while Lilith tells him that now that he is back on his feet, he should leave. Then the snake throws him out of the room. He stands up, zipping his clothes, wondering what is wrong with her. Then he notices the people, knowing that he still doesn't have any strength. But he could see demons blended in with humans and asks what happened to that world. Suddenly, he bumps into someone running. Then the man hides behind him, asking for his help. 3 men appear, telling the running man not to think he can get away scot-free after, and apologizing to him because he'll need to hand the man over. He just smiles, defending the man who's panicking behind him. Later, he defeated the 3 men and was proud of himself because he thinks he's actually strong if the opponent is human. He looked back to tell the man that everything is fine, but he was surprised that the man changed into a demon and attacked him. He angrily realizes that it was one of them. It thanks him for help and told him that they were a bit too brawny to use as bait, that it attacked him using its tentacle. It grabbed his hands and pulled him while saying that he's lucky that he is an angel because he'd like to try angel's flesh and blood himself. He tried to break off, but he realized that he still can't win against a demon. Suddenly, something lit up in his chest, making him surprised, but he felt it and smiled, making the demon surprised. He effortlessly break free from the demon's grasp, severing its tentacles in the process and making it thrown away. He crossed his hands with sharp, long power nails and used the beast's cross to attack the demon's head. He landed on the ground and his wings slowly disappear. The demon released something shiny. It floated in the air toward him and goes inside him, making him confused. Then ancient celestial language appeared, and he re-ranked up to 5, and stigma acquisition physical strength that makes him wonder what the hell it was. The demon slowly stands up and immediately runs away behind him. When he tried to chase it, a car suddenly parked in front of him. The car door opened and a tall man come out of it. He told him not to just butt in, but the man just told him that he thought he was a thug, but he is the Archangel Lucifer. He replied that one after another, he talked like he know him. Then he asks the man what happened to his body and what the hell is happening. The man replied that he's in luck and introduced himself as Marbus, a wisdom demon. Marbus told him that if he beat him, he'll tell him what was happening. He replied that it was interesting and that he feel like he is currently invincible. Then he stretches his body and Marbus throws his cigarettes away without them knowing. Lilith was watching them in the distance, wondering what the hell is Marbus doing. Lucifer told Marbus that he have heard about him. Then he showed his power. Marbus touched his face while replying that it makes him so happy, then activate his power. He jumped to kick him while saying since he got his power back, it was his win. But Marbus just blocks his attack and told him that he has got excellent strength, technique, and strategy, which he has used to slaughter countless demons. He made his nails long and sharp, then attacked Marbs with it, but Marbs avoided it once again and tripped him to fall. While falling, he attacked him using his cross attack, but he just smiles, avoiding it. When he tried to punch him, Marbs tapped his arm and stomach at the same time while telling him that he lacks speed. Then he tripped him and slams him on the ground easily, but he smiled and told Marbus that he had been focusing too much on him. Marbus was shocked when he felt something falling on top of him, and it falls on him while Lucifer is trying to stand up, but he was surprised to see Marbus unscratched and worrying about his car. He asked him how the hell did he avoid it, and he replied demonic eye, then explained that his eye can see a few seconds into the future and see every possibility, so his attack. Suddenly, He activates his Yohane's weapon named Agdos and asks Marbase how about that one, making him surprised, and replied that he's not sure about it. Marbase activated his demonic eye and saw the arrows flying toward him. He avoided every attack using his power. But he didn't see Lucifer jumping toward him and got punched in the face, making him throw away and landed on the ground hard. He told him that it doesn't really matter if his body can't keep up. Marbase said it hurt and it's nice to be young. Then he slowly changed to his original form and used Transcendent Million. Then asked him if wouldn't he look cool if he tore his clothes as well. Marbase immediately attacked him using his lion claw. He tried to block it but ended up thrown in the air and once again landed on the trash bin. Marbase asked him if he couldn't use freely the technique he used earlier, but he got surprised to see Lucifer furiously telling him that it hurt. He laughed, telling him that he kicked thinking it would end things, but is tougher than he looked, so they should spice things up. He jumped to punch him, but Marbase just smiled and disappeared, making him surprised and confused. He looks around wondering how he disappeared and where is he. Then he felt a scratch on his hand and looked at it confused. Suddenly, Marbase scratched him on his shoulder, making him shocked. Then a claw appeared in his neck while Marbase told him that he was called Unbeatable and Invincible Archangel of Dawn and asked if it was his first time to feel fear for his own life while he scratched his neck. He punched Marbase from behind, telling him to let go of him, but he disappeared and laughed at him. Marbase showed himself and explained that it was Transcend Second, named Invisible Lion, and wonder how will he approach next, making him swear furiously. Marbase scratched him in front. Fortunately, he blocked it. But when he attacked him from behind, he didn't. He kneeled on the ground in pain. Then Marbase told him that finally, he's down and remind him that he promised Lucifer information if he win, but if he win, he should compensate him for his car. Also, Marbase told him that angels are rarely seen in the human, so he'll fetch a high price with the buyers. Lucifer attacks him, but he easily avoided it, telling him that, as he said, it won't. He told Marbase that he came there a while back, during the Roman era, and if he recalls, there seems to be a cultural difference. The fire hydrant behind Marbase slowly broke, and he told him that it seems like they still love water irrigation. Then the fire hydrant behind Marbase exploded, releasing a lot of water. Marbase realized that by destroying the fire hydrant, he could spot him, but he was stunned when Lucifer asked him if he was there. Marbase teasingly asked him what can he possibly do even if he know where he was, and told him that as long as he have the demonic eye, his attack won't hit. But he stopped talking when he realized that he can see the water slowly in the air and is looking at every droplet's future. He stumbles because of his hurting head, but when he peeks to look at him, he was shocked to see Lucifer in front of him ready to attack. He kicked him in the chin, making him throw away and slowly fall to the ground. He teasingly asks Marbase if his demonic eye doesn't it look way too much. Suddenly, the stigma acquisition showed up again and told him that he ranked up to 15. He was confused, but his head hurt a lot, and when he opened his eyes, he got the demonic eye. Warp has told him that, as expected, he got his stigma demonic eye. Warp has confessed that he wanted to confirm something. So he lost on purpose and explained that what he's looking at now is a few seconds into the future, and all the possibilities there. At first, he'll be dizzy and told him to try saying tough seek. He followed and said tough seek. After it, the blurry eyesight was gone. Warb has explained that's how to turn it off. He asks him if he is also called an omniscient demon and if his knowledge itself isn't an ability. Marbase replied that the only reason he's omniscient is because he has collected numerous information over the years inside his mind, and his demonic eye is just a tool for collecting it. Also, when he takes a look inside him, he has got something called Kai's legacy, making him ask what the hell is Kai's legacy. But Marbase told him that they should not talk there and ask how about they talk at his shop. Then Marbase called Lilith to tell her that she was coming too and asked why is she so worried. She replied that she don't know what he mean, and that she was just watching to make sure he didn't break her newly picked up toy, making Lucifer ask her if she didn't really call him her toy. Later, they arrived at a bar where many demons drinking, singing, and enjoying themselves. He notices that the demons are drinking while fully exposing themselves, and Lilith replied that it's a given since it's Marbase that run the place. Marbase asked him if he knows that his father created the world, and he replied yes while Lilith pours something at his wounds. Marbase explained that the object is said to have existed since primordial times, even before the world was created, and that is Kai. His guess is it's some sort of god, and it's said that he left 3 legacies: Suji's sword, Biz's cloak, and Gaze stone. He asks if the one that's inside his body is something called stone. Lilith, who currently bandaging him, told him that it was Gaze stone, but he just asked Marbas what was going to happen now. Marbas replied he didn't know, making him confused, while Lilith imagined him wearing a shirt with big uni. He furiously told Marbas he was all omniscient, but what happened to that now? Marbas furiously replied that the story was before the world even existed, and it was astounding that he even know about it. Lilith asks Marbas while calling for a drink if he's not like completely blank, and didn't he say he wanted to confirm something? Marbas replied that Gaze stone duplicates and accumulates the stigma of the opponents the way our fought, but Lilith asked him if originally there should be 1 stigma for each of them. Marbas replied that she was correct, but the fact that Gaze stone is within Lucifer. He continues by asking if the more he fights, the stronger he becomes. Lilith asked him if he want to go and if he was angry that he got bullied. He replied not really and thanked her for saving him. Then he stands up while telling them that he's gonna beat up some bad guys. Marbas told him that they were not done talking. He called the demons, making them look back at him. He told them that they have got guts to blend in with the human world and introduce himself as one of the archangels of a Matsukami named Lucifer. Then told the demons that anyone who knows what they are doing should come at him. The demons gets furious and told him that he underestimating them, so they will show him what they have got. The demons jumped toward him to attack, but he just avoided them using his demonic eye. He crosses over one of the demons and cuts it in half using his side. One of the demons attacks him using its tentacles, and he blocks it using his weapon, but the demon's attack explodes, breaking his weapon. He looks at his side disappointedly and remembers the first demon he encountered before. He gathers his power toward his hand and it slowly changes to his original form. The demon launched to attack him, but he grabbed its head using his claws and easily threw it away. Seeing it, the other demons get more angrier and launch to attack him at the same time, but he just smiled. Marbas, who was watching, is frustrated and told him to look at what he has done to his shop. He defeated all the demons in the shop and his stigma acquisition ranked up to 18. The following are magic-guided bullet, poisonous hand, dynamic balance, mental attack resistance, cure, freeze, leap, and more. He looked at his hand and realized that he had recovered some strength, although not as much as before. He stared at his bloody hand for a second, then remembered his bloody claws and a sword that pierces his stomach, then Michael who betrayed him. He clenches his teeth in anger and walks away. Lilith asks him where is he going, and he replies that he's going to find Michael and beat the shit out of him. Lilith asks if Michael is the one who betrayed him and if aren't they 2 friends. He replied that they were, and he guessed he trusted him too much. But that bastard betrayed him, and before he knew it, he lost his wings and power, so he won't feel content until he hit Michael once. Lilith and Marbas think Lucifer got stabbed, but is okay with just 1 punch. Lilith said she has never heard of angels betraying their kind, and Marbas said the betrayal of archangels. The disappearance of Satan and the appearance of Kai's legacy seem like everything is connected in one way or another. He called Marbas old man and asked if he know any way to return to heaven. Marbas told him to stop calling him an old man because it hurts and asked him if isn't he supposed to know how to do it more than that. But he didn't know because it was hundreds of years ago since he last came there. Lilith asks him if he loses his intelligence along with his wings while carrying him, making him angry. Marbas said in any case, returning to heaven doesn't seem to be necessary, and he just got intel that an angel was captured in Ostander. He told Marbas to take him there, but Marbas asked him if he shouldn't be suspicious of the timing and all, and told him that he's not his driver so he should at least get his own car. He said car in confusion and looked at them confused about what it was. Marbas frustratedly said he just remember, and Lilith told him that it sounds fun to teach a clueless angel what not to do, leaving him confused behind. The next day, they were riding going the Ostander. Lilith asks Marbas how long is it until they arrived at the Ostander, and he replied 200 miles, but with his car baby it should take around 2 hours. He said cars really are fast. Humans do have cool and amazing stuff. Marbas agreed and told him that he straight away started loving alcohol, cigars, and moved his right after he came there. Then he saw a plane in the sky and asked if it was a bird. Lilith replied that it was a plane, making him amazed, and told them that it was his first time seeing it in real life. Lilith was surprised and asked him if he knew about planes. He replied yes, and said humans have finally learned to fly, or was it Michael? He frowned, remembering Michael, and told them that Michael has been telling him everything about the Earth, blabbering on and on about things he didn't even ask him about. Marbas asked him what kind of companions did he have when he fought Satan. He replied that even though he is indebted to him, he still won't sell his friends to the demons. Barb has told him that it was not it, and explained that information about Archangel's combat capabilities has long been leaked, so what he want to know is what kind of people are they from his perspective. He replied that Gabriel is a stubborn and inflexible idiot, Uriel is quiet, so he don't know what he's thinking. Raphael is a healer, so she always stands behind him, and Michael, she's cute and lovely. Barb has asked what about Michael, making him speechless for a moment. Still, he replied that Michael can fly faster than anyone, and is annoyed because he was the only one he couldn't match. He also said that Michael is the only one who could fight him toe-to-toe back then, and he was sure Michael's loyalty to the Godfather is stronger than anyone else's. Then he remembered the time Michael, Raphael, and him, they were playing, walking together, and they've been always together. He also remembered when he was catching his breath in exhaustion, a demon appeared behind him and attacked him, but before it hit him, Michael cut it in half. They look at each other and tap their fist as a sign of their solid friendship. He told them that cars might be fast, but Michael is even faster. Lilith teasingly told him that it sounds like he's in love with Michael, and asks him if isn't he going to beat him up later. Marbas stopped Lilith and told her that, unlike them demons, angels are delicate beings. He shyly told them to shut up because they were all so noisy, but he thinks he shouldn't have said all of that. Lilith told him not to get mad, and she thought he was stabbed because they weren't on good terms, to begin with, making him speechless. Suddenly, something blocks his light from above. Marvaz, who was looking at the sky, asked him if he know that he is now famous. He told Lilith that it was one big plane, and Lilith told him that he just wanted to use the new words added to his vocabulary. Lilith realizes that it was Cain, and told it a long time no see. Marvaz told Cain that they are currently in a hurry. But Cain asked Lilith and Marvaz why are they carrying such a thing, and asked to confirm if he was the Archangel Lucifer, then told them that he can't let them pass through. He said if that's so, then he jumped toward Cain, making the car shake, and told it that they should play a bit. Lilith told him that if he teared his clothes, his next shirt is sea urchin. He attacks Cain using his claws while asking Lilith what the hell is uni. Cain asks him if did he just scratch him, and he proudly replied that if it hits then it was enough. But Cain just looks at him, making him confused. Then he tried to fly, but he can't, so he falls swearing, leaving Cain confused too. He falls to the ground hard while Lilith and Marvas were looking at him. He can't believe that he couldn't still fly, while behind him Marvas asks if it was that the leap stigma. Lilith replied that it seems like Lucifer hasn't regained the strength to fly, so Marvas realized that it's just an amazing jump. He looks back and asks Lilith what is uni, making Lilith ask him how he was more concerned about it when he still couldn't fly, and ask him how are he going to fight Cain. Cain laughed hysterically at him and told him that he's an archangel crawling on the earth, then asked him if he really just fall, but when it tried to say his name, a poison come out of its body and it fall to the ground while he proudly showing his poisonous hand. He told a good night and wondered what is came stigma while thinking that it was flying, but he got nail hardening instead. He was confused, asking why it isn't a sublight flight or something when it was a bird, making Marbas ask him if it's possible for a bird to fly at sublight speed. Lilith replied, it's not like it matters, and she heard that came, claws can cut through anything. He asked them how can they not care about their kin being killed, and if shouldn't they at least try to stop him, making Lilith and Marbas look at each other for a moment and replied, not really. Marbas remind him that they are demons, and Lilith told him that they are different from a certain delicate archangel, making him shy and shocked. He told them that he really want to hit them both once, but Marbas told him to think about who will drive if he was dead, and Lilith asked him who was it that bought him those clothes, making him furiously frustrated. Then they continued driving toward the Allstander. 2 hours later he said he was bored and he was having fun at first, but it's been the same view the whole time. Marbas told him that it was just 2 hours at most and asked him what did he do to waste hundreds or even thousands of his time. He replied that he was quarreling with the demons, making Marbas speechless. Lilith asked Marbas if they should be close to Satanacea's territory in Allstander. Marbas replied yes, and explained that Satanacia has locked down the whole town since he captured Michael. Lilith told them that it would be troublesome if it was on lockdown, and she tried to give it a go and sneak, but she gave up. Marbas told them that luckily, Satanecha is his big brother, even though he don't want to meet him. And if they don't cause any trouble, he'll bet Satanecha will let them see Michael. Then he asked Lucifer if he was listening. But he was shocked to see a truck with 2 kids hostages. The kids look at them in fear, making Lucifer angry. Marbas told them that he guessed the kids are an offering to Satanasia or something. Then he told Lucifer not to ever mess with it without knowing that Lucifer was leaving off the car and kicked the truck roof, making it stop and broke. Then he immediately grabs the 2 kids, while Marbas looks at them in fear. He saves the kids in time before the trucks explode. Then he asks them if they are all right, to which the kids replied, yes. Then he put the kid one by one inside Marbas' car while asking them where are their parent, and they replied that they didn't know, while Marbas was protesting. Lilith said she forgot that protecting children is the nature of angels, and asked Marbas if he does know that he'll be killed if he steals stuff from higher-ranking demons. Marbas called Lucifer, making him turn back to look. Then he furiously told him that he'd take the kids and get lost because he can't risk taking care of him from now on. Marbas also told him that if he hadn't done anything, he could have made him meet Michael peacefully, but he can't do it anymore, and told Lucifer that he have messed with Satan Asha's offering. Lucifer asks Marbas if isn't he supposed to help kids, but Marbas corrects him that it was snatching offerings and asks him if he wants him to punch him. Lilith shouted at Marbs to get himself together because Satan Asha's underlings are coming and asking him what should they do. Marbs held his face in frustration, then asked Lucifer if he really wants to meet Michael and also want to save the kids. If that was so, he told him to shut up and help him, to which he agreed. Suddenly, Marbas pushed him down to the ground and sit on top of him while angry, telling him to be a good boy for a while, making him confused. Later, Marbas threw him tied up on the rope in the ground. Satanasia asks Marbas if he has really caught the angel that tried to steal the offering from him and told him that he usually doesn't bother showing his face at all. But it seems like he has brought him a generous souvenir while Satanasia's underlings were looking at them. Marbas replied that Lucifer is a tough guy despite his appearance. So he wondered if he is to his liking, making Lucifer cuss Marbas in anger. Marbas touched his head and whispered to him to make him calm down. Then he explained that it was just a play, and he have a position to keep too. Also, in the first place, it was all his fault, and if he hadn't done anything, they wouldn't have to go through all that stuff. Lucifer replied that he know, but it was frustrating. Marbas told him that now it came to it. He have got to win against Satanasia, or he won't be able to meet Michael. Satanasia showed his tentacle and told Lucifer that he was an interesting guy. And the other angel has crystallized himself and is not doing anything. But at least he seems to have some guts. Satanasia tentacle goes inside the cloth that blocking his mouth, while telling him that he likes strong people. Then he breaks the cloth. Satanasia also told him that power is everything in his fortress and ordered him to show him his strength. He managed to break free from his restraints and showed his wings while telling Satanasia that he doesn't have to order him to do it. Satanasia called Amon, Barbados, and Prophylas and ordered them to deal with Lucifer, to which the tree demons immediately followed and jumped toward him. Marbas told Satanasia that they are leaving. Lilith asks Marbas if Lucifer is going to be okay, but Marbas replied that he doesn't know and that if they get caught, they are not getting off scot-free. He activates his demonic eye and said that finally, things are starting to get interesting. Amon opened its mouth to bite him, but he forcefully closed it, breaking some teeth in the process. He then tossed Amun aside, causing it to fall hard on the ground. Without giving Amun a chance to stand up, he attacked it with multiple swords. Proofless fly down towards him while its body is covered with flames, but he stretches his hand, activates his ice power, and freezes Proofless before it can hit him. Satanasia said the cold air can even extinguish flames, but something is strange, and asked him how can he have multiple stigmas. Barbados furiously pulled back his arrows and released them to attack him, but he effortlessly broke the arrows while leaping towards Barbados. In response, Barbados quickly discarded his bow, grabbed his sword, and managed to block Lucifer's attack just in time. However, his sword shattered under the force of Lucifer's strike. Lucifer then pointed his sword at Barbados, remarking to Satanasia that he was cute, strong, and the invincible Lucifer. Satanasia was taken aback upon hearing his name. Lilith remarked that it was rather annoying that Lucifer was aware of how cute he was, and Marvis whispered to Lilith that Lucifer had a cute, smooth brain. This made Lucifer shout at them, indicating that he could hear their conversation. Barbados, realizing that he couldn't win, stepped back and grabbed Proflas and Amon, then made a swift escape, leaving Lucifer behind. The stigma acquisition informed him that he had gained the abilities of flame and endurance, but Lucifer dismissed it as no big deal. He called out to Satanasia, teasingly informing him that it would be his turn next. Suddenly, sharp tentacles pierced Lucifer from behind, causing him to cough up blood and alarming Marbes and Lilith. Satan Asha withdrew his tentacles and approached Lucifer, referring to him as an angel with insignificant wings. He warned Lucifer not to think he could defeat the demon general Satan Asha with his current strength. He looked at him while he was trying to get up. He coughed blood and asked, "Where the hell did Satan Asha's attack come from?" Marbus asked him what happened to the demonic eye. But suddenly Satan Asha called Marbus and slowly put his tentacles on his face, surprising him. Then he grabbed him and looked into his eyes. Satan Asia said, "Your demonic eye seems to be healthy," and told him that the demonic eye is not something that can be found laying around, so he thought he had given him the eyeball. He freed him and told him that he didn't know how Lucifer ended up having the same eyes as him, but he had seen demonic eyes many times since long ago, so he knew a way to deal with it. He slowly stood up and looked at Satanasia furiously, but Satanasia slapped him down using his tentacles and told him that he did not give him permission to get up. He lay on the ground, catching his breath in pain, which made Lilith angry, and she slowly changed into her true form. She called Satanasia and told him that Lucifer is a dress-up doll that she picked up. And it was fine if he wanted to play, but she asked him not to break it. Satanasia told her to back off, but she replied, "Not a chance," and explained that besides, Lucifer might hold a clue as to where Satan is. So she'd prefer to keep Lucifer instead of killing him. But Satanasia replied that he recognized Lucifer as an enemy of Satan. Lilith explained that Lucifer had lost the memory of that battle, and his fellow angels had also tried to kill him. But Satanasia still attacked her using his tentacles, throwing her heart onto the ground. Satanasia told Lilith that she seemed to be really fond of Lucifer, but it was not like it mattered because an angel that replicates their stigmata is extremely disgraceful, so he was just going to kill Lucifer right there. Then he attacked her with his sharp tentacles while telling her not to get in his way. She closed her eyes, knowing she would be killed, but a drop of blood on his face made her confused. When she looked up, she saw Lucifer blocking the tentacles for her. Lilith asked Lucifer what he was doing, but he just told her to shut up and that it was his fight. Then he collapsed on the ground, making her worried. Satan Asia teasingly told Lilith that Lucifer saved her life while Marvis realized the mechanics of Satan Asia's attack, but he thought it was too late to tell them. She ripped off Lucifer's clothes and she was surprised to see it, making her hands shake. The young boy was speechless watching them and immediately ran toward them, making Marvis surprised. The child kneeled near Lucifer and put his hands on his body, making Lilith confused. The child's hands emitted a light that slowly healed Lucifer, making Lilith confused. She asked the child how he was doing it, and Lucifer released a light. She noticed something and immediately grabbed the child using her hair and jumped backward. The light shone so brightly that even Satanasia was surprised. Then a light exploded in their surroundings. Lilith slowly opened her eyes and saw Marvis and Satanasius surprised to see it. When she looked back, she too was surprised and called Lucifer, who had big wings behind him. Lucifer stood up and looked at them like a peacefully handsome angel. Lilith called his name from behind, and he turned around, wondering why his body felt so light and if his wings always felt that way. Suddenly, Marvis caught his attention and told him to listen, which surprised him. Marvis, who was currently being attacked by Satanasius's tentacle, warned him that Satanasius's ability was messing with space. He advised him not to look at Satanasius, but to focus on himself, who was under attack. Immediately, he flew towards Marvis and grabbed the tentacle, pushing him away while thanking him for the demonstration. Satan Asia told Marvis that he was not impressed with his loose lips. Marvis apologized and assured him that he had no intention of betraying him. However, he couldn't ignore the impractical things happening right before his eyes and expressed his desire to know what Lucifer was capable of. Marvis apologized to Satan Asia again, explaining that his intellectual curiosity was uncontrollable. Satan Asia replied that at the extreme limit of all knowledge, there lies nothing but emptiness. He acknowledged that it was natural for a demon to be honest about their desires and asked Marvis to allow him to have his selfishness from time to time. He mentioned that he had had enough of being controlled by what he wanted. Satanas furiously declared that it was not the case. Lucifer then declared himself as Satanasia's opponent and teasingly referred to him as a desperate, sadistic bastard, which made Satanasia angry and triggered his space power. Lucifer also activated his demonic eye and grabbed the tentacles just in time, squeezing them and throwing them behind him before flying towards Satanasia. Witnessing this, Satanasia drew his swords and stabbed them into the ground to block Lucifer's attack. However, Lucifer gathered power in his hand and used it to attack Satanasia, breaking the castle in the process and sending Satanasia flying through the air. Before he could land on the ground, Satanasia was shocked to see Lucifer smiling in front of him. Lucifer grabbed one of Satanasia's swords and slammed him hard into the ground, causing the ground to break. Lucifer also descended to the ground, waiting for Satanasia to emerge from the fog. A few seconds later, Satanasia emerged furiously, causing Lucifer to position himself to block his attack. Satanasia threw one of his swords towards Lucifer, who flew backward to block it. However, Lucifer was shocked to see a teleporting hole swallow the sword and spit it out from behind him. Luckily, he managed to avoid it. Satanasia appeared above him, ready to strike, but Lucifer deflects the attack with his sword. Satanasia forcefully swung his sword, trying to throw Lucifer away, but Satanasia stabbed the ground just in time to maintain his balance. Then Satanasia immediately swung back his sword at Lucifer, but Lucifer blocks it. Looking at the deep cut in the ground caused by Satanasia's attack, suddenly Satanasia tried to strike his neck, surprising him. But Lucifer managed to avoid it. Satanasia caught his breath while pointing his sword at Lucifer. Lucifer teasingly asked if Satanasia was already out of breath. Further infuriating him, Satanasia immediately jumped towards him to attack, but Lucifer blocked the attack and counterattacked. They continued to exchange attacks until Lucifer received a cut on his face and Satanasia got a cut on his side. They looked at each other with hatred. While blocking Satanasia's attacks, Lucifer kicked one of his swords, breaking it with his own sword, and swung his remaining sword, causing Satanasia to be pushed back a little. Lucifer struck him on the chin, making Satanasia spit blood. Satanasia swung his sword upward to hit him, but Lucifer easily avoided it. They remained silent for a moment, and then Satanasia laughed, warning Lucifer not to push his luck while pointing his sword at him. Lucifer teasingly replied, telling Satanasia to shut up and that he would keep pushing his luck. He reminded Satanasia that he was the one who had drilled a hole in him and that now he was mocking him. Lucifer ordered Satanasia to hurry up and let him see Michael, to take him by force and not bore him. Lucifer agreed and declared that he was done being on the receiving end of the entertainment. He flew into the air, expressing how he missed strong guys like Satanasia, which surprised him. Lucifer crossed his arms, teasingly telling Satanasia not to die on him. Then he opened his hands, invoking his sacred revelation, chapter 9. He joined his fingers together, saying, Johan's Ray, and pointed towards Satanasia, saying in autos, Lucifer's sacred revelation, chapter 9, activated. But Satanasia just smiled, looking at it. The revelation attacked Satanasia, breaking the ground and hitting him as well. After the castle was broken in half, Satanasia's broken sword lay on the ground. Meanwhile, Lilith and Marbus peeked out of the broken wall, astonished by what they were witnessing. Marbus couldn't believe that demons and angels were life forms that were absolute when their father created them. He mentioned how they were hermaphrodite, encompassing both man and beast, and how even death was temporary in the long run. Lilith explained that due to their perfect existence, they couldn't reproduce with other members of their own family, and they didn't need to evolve through generational changes. She added that if they looked at it from a different perspective, there was nothing beyond the limit of the power they were born with. Barbus agreed, stating that evolution was a privilege reserved only for unfinished terrestrial creatures. However, he wondered what it was about Lucifer that allowed him to take the demon stigma and even reshape the symbolic wings of angels. It seemed as if Lucifer had evolved on his own. He ranked up to 40 and tried to explain it to him, but he grabbed it, saying he was strong and that was the end. Suddenly, his wings slowly fade away, making him wonder why it's disappearing. But even though he tried to stop it, he couldn't. He ended up falling again, asking if it's really happening again. Fortunately, before he could hit the ground, Lilith's hair caught him, surprising him. He looked at her awkwardly, and she explained that it was to make up for what she owed him earlier. He replied with confusion, saying yes. Then he was surprised to see a young boy near Lilith. He told the boy that he was the one, but as he looked into the boy's eyes, the memories of the boy saving him faded away. He scratched his head, unsure of what he was going to say, and ultimately told the kid never mind. He walked away without noticing the young girl who was looking at him. As he neared the hole, he heard a crumbling sound and turned to see Michael trapped inside the ice. He looked at Michael and softly called his name. Later, they arrived at the hole where Michael was. Lucifer scanned Michael inside the ice and looked at him with disappointment. He attempted to touch it, but someone shouted at him to stop. Suddenly, a spatial rift opened in front of him, surprising him, and Satanasia emerged, claiming that it was his property and he wouldn't allow Lucifer to touch it without permission. Annoyed, Lucifer asked if Satanasia had escaped using spatial transfer and remarked that he was a real pain in the ass. Marba shockingly noticed Satanasia's hand, and Satanasia replied that it had been incinerated because of the damned holy light. Suddenly, the chains in the ceiling loosened, and the ice where Michael was imprisoned exploded, leaving Satanasia and Lucifer shocked. They turned to look and saw that Michael was gone.